Hello and welcome to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2. And with us today, we have two new guests. It's Ray Gosla and it's Giovanni Daniels. And Ray Gosla, he's the director of SBCN. And on the other side, we have a videographer of sports, and he's looking at me like, why do you say this wrong?
I'm anything you want me to be.
Okay, all right. Well, we are here today to talk all about the Super Bowl. We just listened to Kendrick Lamar's song Luther with SZA, so we listened to that, got all of that information as we're going to talk about later in this show. And welcome, as again, to Catching Up with Carter. And we're going to go through the Super Bowl recap, NFL honors, rumors around the NFL, NBA news and rumors, and that'll be the entire show. We got 40 minutes of talk. We'll be right back after a minute break to start our Super Bowl recap. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2. And we're going to start off with our entire Super Bowl recap. And we're going to start off with that because, Super Bowl was this weekend. Football just ended. So I just wanted to know, just Ray, Gio, what was your guys' thoughts about this game? A lot of people were going into it thinking it was going to be close, but ended up not being that way. What was your thought? We'll start with Ray. What was your thoughts about this game?
I'll be honest, initially I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it actually was. After about the first quarter, I made the prediction it's going to be about 28-3. That was my prediction. And
28-3?
28-3, yeah.
Any specific reason?
It just looked like that's what it was going to be after like the first quarter. Eagles up 7, and I was like, this is going to be a slow game for Patrick Mahomes, and it was. He only was really able to take it back in the fourth quarter, and taking it back is a stretch.
Yeah. Who are you rooting for?
Lost some game, but I'm going to go for the Eagles on this one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're rooting for the Eagles? Who wasn't rooting for the Eagles?
Point, right?
What about you, Carter?
Yeah, for myself, definitely rooting for the Eagles. That was my, I couldn't, as a 49ers fan, I have to root against the Chiefs. That's just always
True.
How it is.
That makes sense.
I have to. So the two Super Bowl, wins that they had over us, I couldn't get that out of my head. I just couldn't get it out of my head. So I had to root against the Chiefs. They're just such a dominant team in the Super Bowl. So it's just how it is. And going through a little bit of a recap, we're going to just start off right away with the first quarter. And the Chiefs, they didn't get off to a good start. It was 7-0. The Eagles started it off, and then at halftime it was 24-0. So
it was great.
Gio, I want to hear your thoughts about that first half.
It was just Eagles. I remember seeing Patrick Mahomes get sacked over and over again, and it was kind of embarrassing, low key. I don't know. The Eagles just had every answer against the Chiefs, and there was just no match for them. And as a casual fan, it was pretty fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie, because we've seen the Chiefs win over and over and over again. And at first, I was like, okay, they've never won before. Great, they can have their one ring. Then they got 2. Then they got 3. Then they got Taylor Swift. And now I'm just like...
that's definitely whatever.
That's too much, you know what I mean? So.
And Ray, what was your thoughts this Super Bowl?
I really did think it was going to be a lot closer. I think everyone did. But going into it, I think me and many others, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, it's going to be a game of defense. And you really saw the Philadelphia defense put in a lot of work. To shut out Patrick Mahomes like that is unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
It is unheard of.
Especially in the Super Bowl.
Especially in the Super Bowl. Cooper DeJean had a pick 6. So he had a pick 6. And then we also saw, earlier, or after that, we had Zach Bond, who had an interception. So 24-0. Everyone on the Chiefs sideline also, they just looked defeated. There was really nothing on their side. Quarter 3, at the end of the third quarter, was 34-6. And then in the fourth quarter, it was 40-6 at one point. 40 points. 40 points they were able to get on the Chiefs. And then there was 2 touchdowns late. I wrote in here that they get 2 last-second touchdowns and 2-point conversions, but it's all too late. And, 40-22, it looks okay, a better final score, but nothing at all what I expected. I thought it was going to be a lot closer of a game. I even put that the Eagles, they would barely win, maybe by 3, like the Chiefs did the first time. They beat them 38-35, so I thought it'd be the same type of thing, but the opposite. But no, Eagles crushed them, and so Philadelphia, they got, another Super Bowl win. They stopped 2 3-peats in a row. I don't know if you saw that stat. They stopped the Patriots 3-peat, and they also stopped the Chiefs 3-peat. So that's 2 different statistics there.
Our heroes.
That's beautiful.
Our heroes. Yep.
Brady probably knew what was up. Like he probably saw what happened to him in the past. Yeah.
What's another fun stat actually is that he actually has been in the presence for 2 Super Bowl basically the 2 Super Bowl losses for the Chiefs for Mahomes. So he played and then he also broadcasted on Sunday. So
that man always wins, and I hate to see it.
He's the winner.
He is
I
the
hate
winner.
to see it.
He is the
I'm
winner.
not gonna lie.
Yep. And for myself as well, I kind of wanted to go through. I want you guys to turn back on the page 1 that I gave you. There is an image on there that a lot of people were putting up. It was ESPN put an image. It's of Saquon Barkley, and he's celebrating the Super Bowl, and it's him, and it says giant risk and then giant reward. And I don't know if Gio, if you know, I think Ray does, but the Giants traded away Saquon Barkley at the beginning of this season. And so this image kind of just is a reminder for these Giants fans, I mean, that they lost out on maybe a Super Bowl chance because they just lost the guy who won it. So what's your thoughts about this image in general and also about the Giants trading away or giving away Saquon Barkley for literally nothing?
You know, we've kind of seen something similar go on right now.
With Luka?
With Luka.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And so I think if teams are going to keep doing this, just giving away their star players for nothing, then I don't know. You know, it's just, I guess that was a dumb risk for the Giants.
It's a dumb risk, but at the same time, can I blame the Giants? I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I can really blame them. I mean, they really don't have anything else, so it wouldn't have been a Super Bowl for them anyway. Do I think they should have paid Daniel Jones over this guy? No chance, but they did. That's just how it is. Quarterbacks are more overvalued than running backs, so it happens that way. I want to know, Ray, your thoughts on this because you thought about it at the beginning of the season. We talked about how good Saquon Barkley was the past 2 weeks. What's your thought about this? Early in the season, they give him away.
I'm telling you, man, it was the single biggest move that Philadelphia's had in recent history. I mean, to have someone like Saquon Barkley on your team, it ties everything together. Now the only weak link is Hurts on the Eagles offense. And that's pushing it,
He's a weak link?
That's
pushing it.
After what I saw on Sunday,
listen,
I'm like,
he's a great quarterback, but in comparison to his wide receivers, to his running backs, to his O-line, I don't know if you guys saw the stats on the Eagles O-line. They have the biggest. Isn't that correct? Is it the O-line or the D-line that has the biggest guys?
I think it's both. They both have like a really big defensive line and an offensive line. Their offensive line's always ranked in like the top 5 for their offensive lines, so they're always good. I don't know. I wouldn't say, I'm sorry to say, Ray, but I don't agree with your Jalen Hurts is not.
I'm not going to say he's the weakest link. Okay, that is disrespect. I apologize.
He won Super Bowl MVP.
And he's the weakest link.
Okay, listen. Don't use my words against me while you're wearing a Gators jacket over there. Right?
I'm just
just for the listeners, Ray is a Florida State fan, and Gio showed up with a Florida Gators.
I'm sitting as far away from him
as far away as he can right now.
It's a nice jacket though. Like it really does shine.
Okay, we're getting off topic, but no, I mean Jalen Hurts. I think he's definitely one of the top players in this game. And also, I don't know if you know, but Saquon Barkley, he earned an extra $200,000 or $250,000 in contract incentives with this. I wanted to know a little bit about what you use this $250,000 for in your life. If you were given a $250,000 contract incentive from winning a Super Bowl, you just had the biggest high of your career. What do you do? I think for me, I'd look for maybe a supercar. That'd be my thing. What's your guys' thoughts?
I'm gonna put all my money into the Trump coin.
Okay, I put $100 on that, and that was not.
Did?
I did. That was not okay. That tanked really badly. But I want to hear Ray. What would you do?
You gotta buy some property, man. You gotta
buy some property. Okay, buy some property. The safe route. The safe route.
Stocks.
Stocks. Okay, so moving away from the Super Bowl, I want to go into some NFL honors because the NFL honors was also this last week. We weren't able to talk about a lot of it last time, Ray, 2 weeks ago. And I want to go through kind of the winners of it, and I want to get kind of your thoughts. So the first one, the biggest one that everyone was talking about was Josh Allen won Most Valuable Player in the NFL, and a lot of people were mad about this. They wanted Lamar Jackson, they wanted Joe Burrow, they wanted somebody else, maybe Saquon too. Well, I do agree that Saquon should be like an MVP candidate, but I still agree with this as Josh Allen was probably the best for his team. Want to know, Ray, right away, because we talked about it.
I do think that he deserves to have the Most Valuable Player. I think overall, he's that guy.
He's the most valuable to his team. Gio, I don't know. Did you watch a lot of Bills this year? Not too much.
I did not watch a lot of Bills. You guys got to tell me more about like
He can do
Lamar
everything.
Jackson versus. I know Josh Allen can do.
He
Can he
can do
run
everything.
though? Like, is he a fast runner? Like,
He's more of a strong runner. He's a bigger guy, so he can run through people. He's more of a Cam Newton. I don't know if you know Cam Newton, but yeah, he has more of his vibe that he just runs through people whenever he wants. He can jump over anything. But yeah, no, Josh Allen, he had a worse technical statistical season than Lamar Jackson, so that's why people are arguing about it. But again, I go back to last year's MVP. Dak Prescott did not win MVP and had the best statistical season of any quarterback, threw for, I think it was over 4,000 yards and had, I think, 40 touchdowns, something to that effect, like a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, and did not win MVP, and Lamar won it over him. And a lot of people are like, oh, but Lamar, he has more impact on his team. But that's now the argument's reversed in that way that, you know, Josh Allen won MVP. It's how it is. I mean, do I love Lamar Jackson? Do I think he should be MVP like this year? Does he have the MVP stats? Yeah, he could win MVP, but Josh Allen was more for his team. For his team. So that's my thought on the MVP. Now going to Offensive Player of the Year, I don't even think we have to talk about this for very long. Saquon Barkley won that. He had over 2,500 yards total on the season, including the postseason. Ridiculous season for him. Played amazing. I don't know. Gio, did you watch a lot of Saquon Barkley? I know you watched him in the Super Bowl, but did you watch him earlier in the year too?
I mean, it's hard to like escape all of his highlights because he's been like killing it. I'm not gonna lie.
He has.
Yeah.
You see the backwards hurdle earlier in the season?
I did not see that.
No, you
one,
did not?
no.
Okay, Ray, I think
We'll show it to him later.
We'll have to show it to him later. That was an amazing just highlight in general. Ridiculous. I don't even know how he knew the guy was behind him, but he jumped up as a hurdle and the guy
He probably
ran
got
under him.
eyes behind his like head or something.
Behind his head or something. I don't know. I want to go back to the Super Bowl because you both watched it and we've all done television production. I want to bring in a different kind of perspective. Did you guys see the score bug they had unveiled for Fox?
I'm mixed on it, you know.
You're
like,
mixed on it?
I think I don't really care what they do, you know, as long as I get like all the information that I need. Not too much information though, where it's to the point where I'm just overwhelmed. It gave me enough information to where I could keep up with the game and like not really pay too much attention, but it was also lacking like in-depth analysis, which is like what they would cut to anyway. So I think it was fine. A little confusing because it's new, but whatever, you know. Like
I don't know. I as a person who, you know, we work in sports in that broadcast space, I didn't like it. It was not at all what I thought it was going to look like. I felt it looked like they made it this like the morning of the Super Bowl. They're like, okay, we got to figure this out. We forgot how to do it. It looked like I could have made it in Photoshop in 15 minutes. And I know that that's just how I look at it. Ray, I mean, what's your thought about this?
Let me tell you something. This was single-handedly the worst one I've seen. It looks like someone lost it and just said, oh, guys, what are we going to do here? You know what? We're going to do what all those companies are doing with their logos. We're going to simplify everything, minimalistic. When I saw it on screen, I was like, are we watching like the B stream? What's going on here? But no, it was underwhelming, and I don't know if you guys got this, but a couple of people who I was watching the game with said that the font looked like it was the font in Fortnite.
Yes, it looked like a Fortnite font.
Like,
yes,
I'm serious with
did.
you. I straight out of a video game or something. And I actually looked up the font, and sure enough, like when they brought up like the score statistics, I mean they did a nasty job showing up the statistics for Patrick Mahomes on that first half. Oh man,
they kept putting up the wrong thing. I mean, there was different stats. There was one of them where it was Tom Brady in the booth. He was calling like, oh, it's 13 of whatever for Jalen Hurts, and on the screen it's like 11 out of whatever. Like they're off on the
embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. It was not good.
Someone's
in that
getting
way.
fired.
Someone is getting fired from Fox. Now moving over to the next award, going back to NFL honors, Defensive Player of the Year was the guy we predicted last week. We said or 2 weeks ago, Patrick Surtain won the award. He's a cornerback. It's the first time a cornerback's won since I believe like Revis, those players. So it's a different person to win it. There's not really stats around him, like as a player, but he's an amazing cornerback. I mean, he didn't allow anything on his side of the field, so that's why they gave him the award. He was also a captain of his team. So I want to know, Ray. 2 weeks ago you talked about it and said Patrick Surtain should win the award. So what do you think about this award being given to him?
All I want to say is I was right the first time, and I'll continue to be right. I mean, he really is just an absolute leader for that defense, and I'm glad he got it.
I'm glad too. I don't know, Gio, did you see Patrick Surtain this year?
No disrespect to my man. I don't know who he is.
Okay,
It's okay. It's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. He's not a super well-known player in the NFL, but he should be on the radar of people that are starting to be
Is
fans
he
of
young?
the game.
You should
He's a
know-
younger guy.
You should
He's
know the
running
Broncos'
defense.
defense is one of the best.
Are the Broncos going to be like, were they in the playoffs this year?
Yeah, they were, but they got destroyed first round. They're new. They have a brand new rookie quarterback, Bo Nix.
Okay, so the
it's
future's
totally
bright.
different. The future is bright.
Exactly.
They got
The
something
future's
to look
bright.
forward
got-
to.
yes.
Now
That's
going
awesome.
into the offensive and rookie player of the year, so offensive and defensive rookie, we'll start with both of those. So Jaden Daniels, he won offensive rookie of the year. This guy's been on everyone's radar as a rookie. He looks like a veteran, and Jared Verse also looks like a veteran. And it's crazy because the last time I'm pretty sure a Rams player won offensive or defensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year. Sorry, I'm mumbling on my words. It was my man Aaron Donald. So Aaron
good
Donald, the GOAT for LA, and now they got another guy who could play just as big of a role for the defense for the Rams. So what are we thinking? Jared Verse. I'm going to kind of skip over Jaden Daniels. Everyone really knows why he won that award, but Jared Verse, what do you think that impact for LA is?
I think after they lost Donald, this is a huge thing for them. Having that strong defensive capability that they once had come back again, it puts them back on pace to what they were.
Yeah, and also Gio, for yourself, watched a little bit of the Rams this year too, right? So Jared Verse, did you watch him a little bit? See, he got booed in the Eagles stadium because of what he said. We talked about that 2 weeks ago.
What did he say?
He said, "I don't like Eagles fans," basically in a tweet.
I mean, that's kind of understandable.
But
he's
not wrong.
He's not wrong. I mean,
He's not wrong.
Philadelphia is not doing too
They're
well
wild.
after this Super Bowl right
No,
now.
I mean, y'all saw the videos
how's the
this
city?
week.
How's the city doing?
The city's not doing great. But moving away
They're
from
running out of
that,
light poles.
Oh.
Jared
They're running out of
Verse
light
is
poles.
doing a great job for LA, for the Rams themselves. And I want to move into, I think, 2 more awards we'll go through. Comeback Player of the Year was Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, everybody talked about him being MVP level of a player, which he definitely was, the MVP kind of caliber that he needed to be, but his team was not good. They didn't make the playoffs this year, barely did anything. So I want to get a perspective from someone who watches baseball. So Gio, you watch a decent amount of baseball. So
do.
You love the Angels, right?
I
so
love
you
them.
love the Angels. So Mike Trout, okay?
I see what you're doing here.
Pretend Mike Trout had the best season.
Pretend?
Right?
No,
Or,
I can
he did.
imagine.
Okay, you
I
can
can,
imagine,
I can
right?
This is a
visualize.
very
I
real
can remember.
situation.
I'm sorry, but had the best season, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't win the most valuable player, or the best player.
Yep.
What's your thought? I mean, that definitely feels off, right?
This is why, the MVP is always confusing to me because there's 2 sides of the argument, right? And we were talking about this earlier. The argument where does it matter if, a player's team does well for them to win the MVP or, is their contribution that important? Personally, as a Mike Trout fan and an Angels fan, they always lose. My side of the argument is pretty clear. I think all that really matters is, personal achievement and, how good of a player you are because that's the value, right? I feel like that's where the value comes from. And I think, if I was a Bengals fan, I'd be pretty angry if he wasn't in those MVP talks just because the team is bad because that's kind of unfair, what can you do about that? If your team is bad, but you're still playing the best that you can, you're being as valuable as you can be. There's nothing else you can do about it. And so it's just another thing where your team is failing your guy and the fans go home sad and I don't know, it's just a sad life.
It's definitely, he was in the MVP talks, but I don't think anybody expected him to win the award because of team success. I do believe there is a little bit to be said about impact for the team, right? If you're a player like Josh Allen, right, had lower statistics, but he won games for the team, right? That's why it is. It's a little different in baseball, longer season,
it is different.
Right, for that in the NFL. So what's your thoughts, Ray?
I completely agree with Gio on the fact that it's called most valuable player. It should be based upon the player's value that season. But then again, you have to remember if your team sucks, you're only going to be able to put up so much, And it's tough to recognize the same value of one player putting up, let's say, 2 touchdowns a game versus a player putting up 4 because his team's better. So it brings them up as a player. So I get what you're saying, and I get to recognize success. And so comeback player of the year is, I think, where he should be. Respectfully, I think that's
He did get the award.
He got an award. They gave him some recognition, and like what you said. But I think that based on his team, it's a tough argument because you see so many other quarterbacks and offensive players just pound the statistic line because of their team.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good argument in the sense of Joe Burrow's case. I do understand that the thought of, most valuable to their team. Now going into coaching. So Coach of the Year this year was Kevin O'Connell for the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of people were not happy about this award as well. This was also a controversial award.
Sure, you were happy.
I was happy.
Yes.
My whole family's Vikings fans, so I said that Kevin O'Connell should win it. I believe a team that should have won 4.5 games at the beginning of the year that won 14. That's Coach of the Year worthy,
strong.
right? They did. They started very strong. They were 5-0 at the beginning of the year, played very well all year long, and then didn't play well in the last 2 games of the year and lost early in the playoffs. A lot of people said it should have been Dan Quinn of the Washington Commanders, who made it all the way to the NFC Championship when they were predicted to maybe go 9-8 on the season with a brand new quarterback. So I don't know. I believe it should have been Kevin O'Connell, but Ray, I'm going to start with you. What's your thoughts on it?
Listen, man, whatever you say is the truth, okay? It's whatever you think. No, but in all seriousness, now I have to agree with you. To see the Vikings come as far as they did this year, it was nice to see. I think they're definitely somewhat of an underrated team, and they looked really good this season. And I'm looking forward to see what happens next season as well.
Gio, any
'cause
thoughts?
they kind of went out sad this year. I was honestly kind of paying attention a little bit because you like the Vikings, so I just wanted to stay in the know a little bit. And they kind of went out sad, and that kind of left me a little disappointed. But I understand that the strong start regulates to Coach of the Year, so good for him. But, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the Vikings next year.
I'm excited as well. We're going to take a 1-minute break here on Catching Up with Carter, 88.5 HD2 on Saddleback College Radio. We're going to be back with all the NFL rumors around the league, and then we're going to talk all about the NBA, all about Luka Doncic for the Lakers. So we'll be back after a 1-minute break here on Catching Up with Carter. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter, 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio. We're going to talk about the NFL rumors around the league. We're going to start with Deebo Samuel, who is up to be traded for the San Francisco 49ers. It seems like they might just be getting rid of him. Have to maybe trading him away. And I mean, he played a great part in getting the 49ers into the Super Bowl just a few years ago, played a great part 2 years ago, getting him in to play against the Chiefs. And so, I don't know, as a 49ers fan, I'm a little sad about this, but I can also see why. Samuel, he had a down year this past season, finishing with only 806 scrimmage yards and 4 touchdowns. And I mean, he's a dynamic receiver and a runner. And 2 years ago, he had over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. So where would you like this guy to go? What do you think, Ray? I want to know your thoughts of a team that this guy could go to.
It's tough to say. I mean, I know he's a wonderful wide receiver. It's just really tough to see who's going to take him. That's not something I had envisioned. I don't know. This kind of came out of the blue for me. I never thought to see Deebo leaving the 49ers just yet. I mean, the Raiders would be a good pick in my opinion. I think that they're making a lot of momentum.
They've got to find a new quarterback, though. That's the first thing they've got to do. We have a few different options. So the Chargers, Raiders, Patriots, Steelers, and Commanders. My first pick is Chargers. Gio. You have any thoughts about it?
I feel like an interesting choice would be the Commanders. With the new quarterback, Jaden Daniels, I feel like that would be a crazy combo.
That would. That actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that team would be automatically Super Bowl contenders if they add a talent like this. They already have Scary Terry out there. They've got a decent running back as well, a great defense, and if they're able to add another talent there, that could be a big one. And now I want to talk about the Raiders again because we talked about the Raiders needing a QB, and Rodgers is out. He has informed the Jets that he is leaving and he is going to continue playing football, but he is looking at a new team, looking for someone else to go to. Where do we think he's going to? My prediction, and I want to give you my prediction because as a Minnesota Vikings fan, I have to say it. Brett Favre followed this exact same thing, an old Packers quarterback. He went to the Jets, retired, and then came out of retirement to play for the Vikings. So I'm saying Sam Darnold leaves the Vikings, and the Jets basically lose out on Rodgers, and Rodgers goes to the Vikings to finish the whole circle. But I know that's crazy. What do you think, Ray?
That's a bold prediction, my friend.
That's
is
my
a
prediction.
Very bold prediction.
And it just might work.
It just might happen. It just might happen. I feel like it's crazy enough that it's gonna happen. That's the thing. It's crazy enough.
It's crazy enough
happen.
that it's not gonna happen.
Why is that?
I still think that the Vikings need to keep Sam Darnold. They just need to keep him for one more season, just one.
Why one more season? If you can get rid of him and pay a guy like Rodgers to be a veteran talent for J.J. McCarthy who just came in, why not? I mean, that's more of a veteran and a better passer, in my opinion, than Sam Darnold.
That's fair.
And he's got basically the best weapons in football. In my opinion, the Vikings are some of the best weapons in football. You've got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. This is just me dreaming. I mean, I'm hoping.
No, you're not dreaming. You're what's the word?
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic for it to happen. Maybe that's probably what I'm thinking.
What's the word, Ray?
What's the word?
Well, I don't know why you asking
I'm
me.
asking you. You seem like the word guy.
I'm not a word guy at all.
Well, going off, Gio,
Manifesting. You're manifesting
what do you think
it.
about this?
Sorry.
Was Aaron Rodgers good this year?
No, horrible. Absolutely.
Why is he still here?
Well,
Can you pack your bags and go? I remember Brett Favre. He kept unretiring. Like, man, pack up your bags. Let's go home. Let's see the wife, see the kids. Take care of a dog or something.
He doesn't have a wife. I'm just gonna let you know that Aaron Rodgers does not have a wife. He dated Danica Patrick for a little bit, but
then do the Tom Brady route or something. Go to the broadcast booth.
In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers could still play one more year, but I don't know. The Vikings are probably not the best option for it, but I'm just hoping as a Vikings fan. Now moving to the next one, the first overall pick for this year is with the Tennessee Titans, and the Tennessee Titans are looking to maybe trade away this pick, which I don't understand. I'm sitting here with my hands up because I don't understand why you trade away a pick when you really need it. You had, Will Levis, who was horrible. I mean, he threw 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions, almost matching Jameis Winston for that season when he threw 30 touchdowns, 30 picks. And, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, and maybe looking out for a new quarterback. Ray, what should they do? I feel like
they keep the pick. They need to keep the pick. They have to keep the pick.
They have to, but
what are they going to trade away for?
It looks like the thing is, they could trade away the first overall pick for a quarterback and something else. Like someone that, for example, Sam Darnold, they could just pick up in free agency and be done and have a decent quarterback on their hands. So,
that's fair.
And trade away the pick. So that's a quick just little portion about the Tennessee Titans. But I want to look right into Kirk Cousins. He's looking to be cut from the Falcons after 1 year. So he played for one season. He was good with the Vikings. He was pretty, he was okay. We watched, me and Ray, we were actually at a Chili's and we watched Mr. Kirk Cousins.
We're not going back to Chili's.
We're not going back to Chili's.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that later. But Kirk Cousins, he actually had a game-winning drive against the Super Bowl champion Eagles this year. And beat them in Philadelphia, 22-21.
He turned on the afterburners.
He did.
It was insane.
Was it kind of something like what's that guy on the Bucks now? What's his face?
Baker Mayfield.
Was it kind of similar to that with the Rams last year?
Similar to that, but it was more of. Kirk Cousins was supposed to be the guy for Atlanta, and they decided to pass off on him for Michael Penix, who's there right now. He's their quarterback of the future. But I don't know. I'd say keep him on the team. I mean, you already paid him. I mean, they're already going to have to pay him a decent amount of money. So why? I don't know. It says right here that it looks like he might go to Pittsburgh to play for the Steelers after they just get rid of both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. But, I mean, I don't know. Ray, what's your thought about that?
There's a lot of movement here for the quarterbacks in these, I'm not going to say lower ranking teams, but I'm going to say lower ranking teams. Steelers and Vikings and even Green Bay is actually no, Green Bay they're okay.
Jordan
right
Love.
Jordan Love, he's good. He's good. But there's a lot of movement in quarterbacks, and we're going to see a lot of people switch off. You're going to see quarterbacks moving around this next season, and I'm looking forward to see what kind of crazy mashups we get, because it's going to be interesting from what I'm seeing here. I don't think anyone really has a good idea of where anyone's going. We're all speculating. But it's all up in the air at this point.
I think it's all up to the draft. So the NBA, the NFL draft, we're going to talk about the NBA in just a second, getting ahead of myself. The NFL draft itself has been just, all the news around it is insane. All the college football talent that's around it, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, people have talked about Deion Sanders, coming up to coach in the NFL. He's kind of said no to that. He's like,
really?
He's basically been like, no, I'm going to stay at Colorado, which I feel like is a good move for him. Yeah. He should stay. But it would have been exciting, like wherever Shedeur gets drafted, where he's going to go coach. But I don't know. I could see just in the NFL draft, we could see a lot of these QBs be moving around during the draft. I feel like there could be some moves around there. And now we're going to move into totally different sport. We're going to move to NBA, where Gio, you've got some inside knowledge here. We're going to talk more about inside knowledge.
I know Luka.
We're going to talk about Luka, and we're going to talk about his first performance. Kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, but I mean, he is like coming off of an injury, so he had to like take it slow. So I mean, it was pretty like I feel like understandable. So I think we should just wait before we make a.
It's the first game, man.
Yeah,
It is his
Chill
first
out.
game, but it is okay. But you have to remember that a lot of people were expecting this guy to go for 30 points. Like
Yeah,
first
I
night.
expected that. I'm gonna be honest. I had a parlay on that game.
Oh no!
And, I had him going over 27 points, but, that's fine. At least Jason Tatum hit his, like, parlay or whatever. But, I mean, I probably should have expected that because he is, like, as I said, coming off of an injury. So I wouldn't, like, kill him right now,
No, of course. I'm going to give you a little LeBron James quote that he gave to Luka before. He said, "Luka, be your blanking self," James said during the pregame huddle. Picked up by the ESPN telecast. "Don't fit in, fit the blank out, be yourself." So maybe that was a little bit to do with it. He just played like as if he was playing in Dallas. Like he just kind of was running the floor, which is fine. I mean, he needs to as a point guard, but I mean, that could be a big reason.
Yeah, but, I mean, he was also making plays. Like,
He was.
You saw that clip of him throwing that
A good
lob
pass
to
to
LeBron.
LeBron. Yeah,
His face, he looked like a dog, man.
He looked really happy, and I'm glad that he looks happy. That's the biggest thing, because I mean, Luka bought a house right before being traded. Like he bought a house in Texas right before that, and then now has to move all the way to California, here in LA, and I'm just happy he's happy. I mean, it looks like he's happy to be on the floor playing with this new team, a new team, obviously, and with the high-powered talent, you've got LeBron James, you've got Austin Reeves.
Nobody is sad to play on the Lakers. Okay,
Yeah.
come on now, everybody.
There's some
the Lakers
people.
have such history. You got to enjoy playing on the Lakers.
And Luka loves to win, and they have
Yes.
like the most. Don't they have the most rings, or is that the Celtics?
Them and the Celtics are
Yep.
up there. So both those teams are up there, and I do like this. I really do like Luka, LeBron. I think they're really going to do well, but it just continues to push that LeBron needs help. That's a big narrative. LeBron needs help to win rings.
He's
all
retiring
of
after
that.
after this season. Yeah.
No,
No?
next season.
Next season? Okay.
It looks like he's got a few seasons left.
I
could
think
see.
he's got more seasons, but right now he's got a contract until next year.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think right now what the Lakers are going to do, they don't have a center. The Lakers need a center.
They just signed a guy. They actually just signed
Was
a
it Mo
brand new
Bamba?
center. He was a former Sacramento King. I don't know his name, but they just hired signed a 7-foot center.
Okay.
So that just happened. It happened 2 hours ago. I wasn't able to put it in all of our papers here,
Mm.
but yeah, they just signed a center because there was actually some news. Mike Williams, there was a trade for him.
Yes.
Who was another center, and that trade fell through because he didn't pass a physical.
And did you
So-
hear that the trade might come back through because the Hornets were like smelling like sniffy?
I did not.
Yeah,
So they think like he tried to.
They
fail,
think the
right?
Lakers like failed the
on
medicals
purpose.
test, and so they're like, wait, hold on, we want Connect, we
That-
want Mark Williams out of here.
That makes sense. Well, I really liked having, Connect, Austin Reeves, all those shooters on the outside. I really liked having that with Luka
Mm-hmm.
for the Lakers. So I'm kind of hoping they don't, because they have this new center that they just
Center's
signed.
name Alex Len.
Thank you, Ray, for getting that information. So they just signed him to a contract. So it looks like they're going to have a center. Now the Lakers need a center. Thing is now it's fulfilled. They got a center.
They got more.
Yeah, I think though this year, I think it's gonna be fun to watch them like build up this new like chemistry between Luka and LeBron and
100%.
Austin Reeves. I think that they might make the playoffs. They have a great chance. I don't think they'll go too far, but I think next year is really the excitement.
Next year's the year.
That's
Next
the
year's
excitement
definitely
for
the
me.
year.
But like I always say next year the year as an Angels fan, but like this is the Lakers, like next
No,
year is
yeah.
actually gonna be the
No,
year.
it can't. And it's the same as a Niners fan. I say it every time. I sound like the Cowboys now, right? Like the Cowboys fans always, it's our year, right? But it's
never their
I,
year.
I think the Lakers do have a chance even this year. I mean, they do. Obviously, it's difficult, bringing a new guy in after, all of this right before the All-Star break. It's different, right? It's a different trade. It also, Mike Williams trade, as you said, might come back. It actually says that Luka, he wanted Mike Williams. It
Yes.
said that Williams was a guy that Luka Doncic, when the Lakers brought up some names to him that they could potentially pursue at center, he signed off on that name. So he kind of handpicked it. So
Yeah.
if they bring him back, that's two centers that they have there to play around him. And yeah, I mean, that could definitely be a threat, having two big guys down at the center, at the 5 position, have LeBron at the 4. You've got Austin Reeves and Luka. I mean, you can't go wrong. You
Yeah.
can't.
Something I do want to talk about though is like the Mavericks, because like I'm not gonna lie,
goodness. The
that
Mavs-
fan base is in pain.
There was a meme that I just saw yesterday that said if you own a PlayStation, because PlayStation servers were down like a few days ago, it says if you own a PlayStation, you're a Chiefs fan and a Mavericks fan, you're having the worst time of your entire life.
Man.
Like in these last few weeks, because your PlayStation's down, not working. You got the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, and you've got now Luka just got traded, and Anthony Davis gets hurt in his first game.
That was
crazy.
The first game, like I'm pretty sure a lot of people expected that, but the first
He scored over 20 points in the first half. Anthony Davis was going off. He had over 20 points. Everyone's like, this trade worked, and then he gets injured.
Because he seemed like such a he handled the situation very well.
He did.
And just to see him go out like that, like it kind of hurts.
I mean, he's got 3 weeks, and he'll be back. So it's not like he's done for the year, but it's still. I mean, it already is like, okay, the Lakers won, right?
For Nico Harrison, their GM.
People are saying that he needs to get more security detail out in Dallas. So that's another thing. And also wanted to bring up that Mark Cuban didn't want this to happen. He had a good relationship with Luka Doncic, and then it says that basically by the time Cuban found out about the Luka for AD trade, it was too late. It was already signed off because he sold his majority ownership. So
that is what happens. I mean, that's kind of the thing, because this trade, from what I've heard, only like the GMs and the owners really knew about it. And obviously nobody none of the roster wanted Luka to go away. Kyrie wanted him to stay. The fans didn't want him to go, and yet
the fans love him.
This all still happened. And I don't know, as like an Angels fan, I can kind of relate because we had some crazy players who were really good, lost one of them, did nothing with them, and I feel like ownership is to blame. And as a fan, it just hurts to see another team lose a great talent, waste talent pretty much, have something there, not have it be realized at all, just have it go away like that in a flash, all because ownership thought he was fat.
It's crazy that it's like, okay, this guy, he's not in shape, right? And it doesn't matter. He's still dropping 30 plus a night. Doesn't matter how big you are, whatever. It's
crazy disrespectful to Luka, the fans, and all the people in the organization who wanted to win because, like, I don't know, that's just pain.
It is pain. And also, I saw the coach for the Mavericks during the press conference. He did not look happy at all during it as well. Nico Harrison was there just like, oh, yeah, it's all good, guys. And then it's the coach just sitting there like, oh, God.
Yeah, wasn't it Jason Kidd? My bro was spacing out. He was like,
what's going on? It was not good. It was not good at all. He's like, why is this happening? I want to move over to another player, kind of a love for me. I'm a Warriors fan. So KD, he almost was reunited with Curry, but decided it wasn't right. The timing wasn't right. The rumor was around when there's all these basically KD rumors. Like Durant, he just told Curry that he just didn't feel right about it. Going back to that organization, he said he loved being part of Phoenix and being a part of the Suns. I wish he came back. I do. I mean, we got Jimmy Butler, but I don't think that's any much better than Kevin Durant.
Nah, the honeymoon phase right now that you guys are having with Jimmy Butler is going to be amazing. It's going to fade away.
It's going to fade. I love Jimmy Butler, part of our team, but Jimmy Butler at some point, Draymond Green and him are going to fight in the locker room and it'll be over. That's just how I see it. Draymond Green's going to do something. I mean, Ray, what's your kind of thoughts around all these different trades? Luka, all of it with KD, these rumors, and Butler being traded. What's going on with this?
I think there's going to be a lot of questionable trading happening. I hope nothing to the Spurs happens negative. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, you guys just got – that was actually a good thing to bring up because you guys just got a new guy, De'Aaron Fox, from the Kings, so that's good. Got him with CP3, and you've also got Victor Wembanyama. I mean, the Spurs are looking good. They look good.
They're looking good.
Moving back to Jimmy Butler, it looks like he left the team because of Pat Riley. That was a rumor going around. It basically says, according to James Jackson, Sam Emick, and John Korinsky, sorry if I said that name wrong, of The Athletic, Butler did not react well to Riley becoming emotional and tearing up when talking to Butler about the death of his father, which occurred last year. Riley's father died when the Basketball Hall of Famer was 25. While he attempted to connect with Butler on that common ground, who, Butler's past, Butler reportedly felt Riley came across as unhinged and disturbing, and that was one of the reasons he decided to leave. So as you said, ownership having problems, and we've got more ownership problems here. So, Gio, what's going on here?
Well, honestly, I feel like for me, this is a case of not having enough information it sounds weird, it sounds crazy, but it also could just be Jimmy Butler just wanting an excuse to get out.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But that does sound crazy, but an unhinged and disturbing response. Like, I don't know what the man could have said if he was just trying to give him like words of support to Jimmy Butler. For him to say that it was unhinged and disturbing, it must have been terrible.
It must have been. I mean, it's just weird. It's weird. Jimmy Butler's had all these different comments that are all over the place about his time at Miami. So it's weird, right? What's your thoughts about this?
I think this is another thing of the higher ups, let's call them, messing things up. But nobody knows what was said, right? Is that correct? It's kind of like a
it just feels
word of mouth.
It's rumors. It's a rumor around it, so it's word of mouth. But at the same time, Jimmy Butler wouldn't just like say this just out of nowhere. Jimmy Butler's one of those people that talks about everything that goes on in his life. So he'll say something's going on. So Gio, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry I cut you off there.
It's just like after following like the trade deadline and like seeing like the tensions between like some of these people, like, and then they just throw crazy insults at each other, like trying to tear down somebody's name, like with the Mavericks with Luka, just calling him fat, like unconditioned, and like I don't know, just
to me that's insane.
Right, like I don't understand like why it's so unprofessional right now in the industry. Like everything is leaking. And
everything is leaking out, and it's just everybody's knowing everything. The one thing I wanted to go back about Luka, the biggest trade I thought was going to happen was him to Denver. If anything, I thought he would hook up with Jokic to play with him, because those two just have the same vibe. They've always wanted to play with each other. So when I first saw the trade, I thought it was just I've scrolled through and there's like a House of Highlights fake account on TikTok, and I've seen it like 1,000 times. And when I saw that one, I clicked on the account to make sure it was the correct one for the Luka trade. It's like, that's the official account. That's crazy. But I was expecting if there was any crazy trade that he would go to Denver, like to go play with Jokic. So what's your thoughts about that? Maybe him going somewhere else. Obviously, he's with the Lakers now, but before this even happened, I didn't think he was going to get traded. But if he was going to go anywhere,
if anywhere, yeah, I think Denver would be a good fit. But I mean, just the fact that this trade happened at all, like this really could have been avoided. You know, like Luka clearly wanted to stay, and I don't know, just the fact that the idea of him being traded away just is kind of stupid. So.
Alrighty. Well, we've run out of time on our show today here on Catching Up with Carter with Ray and Gio. Thank you guys so much for
finally
coming on
cashed
to the
out with
show.
Carter.
Yes, you did. We're going to take a 1-minute break. We're going to be back, kind of go through a little outro, talk about next week, and we'll be right back here on 88.5 Saddleback College Radio HD2. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2. Thank you guys so much for being on the show, Gio and Ray, and thank you so much for listening. Got any final words for us? We'll start with Ray. Final words for the listeners?
First off, I just want to say thank you again for having me. Always have a great time on the show. It's always very interesting to kind of catch up with Carter.
No problem, of course. And Gio, thank you so much
That
for
was
this
good. That was good, right? Come
new guest on the show.
Yes, of
Hopefully
course.
you'll be back.
I was
again.
excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, you both, for coming on to the show. Thank you so much to the listeners, and we will see you next week on Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. here on 88.5 HD2 Saddleback College Radio.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.